Imagine working your tail off all month, putting in late hours, skipping weekend plans, and finally seeing your paycheck notification pop up. You've been paid $2,000. But you log into your account and you only see $1,450. Where did the rest go? Federal tax, state tax, insurance, retirement funds. Taxes are the subscription fee for living in a civilized society. Your money builds roads, funds local schools, and ensures the street food you love isn't a health hazard. But the mistake most of us make is believing that once that net pay hits our checking account, the bleeding stops. If you don't understand how the invisible economic forces handle your money after it leaves your paycheck, you are mathematically destined to slowly lose your wealth. You're playing the financial game on hard mode. Let's start with the place you likely store that remaining cash. When you deposit $1,000 into a bank, it's comforting to picture it sitting safely inside a giant steel vault, guarded and untouched. In reality, that money is already gone. This chart illustrates fractional reserve banking. Institutions only hold a tiny percentage of a deposit. The other 90% flows outward into the economy. Banks act as matchmakers, taking your cash to fund car loans, mortgages, and business ventures. The bank collects a high interest rate from those borrowers, while giving you a tiny fraction of a percent for the privilege of using your cash. Treating a bank merely as a safe storage unit means your cash isn't resting. It is actively being leveraged by institutions to build their wealth, not yours. Which brings us to the second major illusion, the assumption that a $10 bill today will always possess exactly $10 worth of purchasing power in the future. Have you gone to buy your favorite snack, opened the bag, and realized it's half empty, all while costing more than it did a year ago? That is inflation. It acts as a slow, quiet, and constant erosion of what your money can actually purchase. Here is the core mechanic at play. When there is an excess of money in the economy chasing a limited supply of goods, businesses are forced to raise their prices to balance the scale. A slight 2% inflation rate is normal for a growing economy, but when that rate spikes, it rapidly destroys the purchasing power of your idle savings. Keeping your cash hidden under a mattress or sitting in a basic checking account is actually the riskiest move you can make. It guarantees a steady, daily loss of wealth to this invisible economic decay. To combat that decay, you have to understand interest. Think of interest as the financial rent charged for the privilege of holding someone else's money across time. If you borrow money, interest is the premium price tag you pay to access tomorrow's cash today. If you save or invest, interest is your reward for being patient. Simple interest is a flat fee. Compound interest is when the rent you owe starts having its own babies, who also charge rent. Applied to debt, it's a trap. A $15 purchase can exponentially balloon into a massive $60 burden. But flip the perspective. When you apply that exact same compound math to early investments, your money starts duplicating itself automatically while you sleep. The ultimate rule for handling interest is straightforward. Aggressively eliminate compounding debt to stop the bleeding, and leave compounding investments entirely alone so time can do its work. The traditional model of trading hours for pay and storing the leftovers in a bank is mathematically rigged to keep the average person treading water. When you trade your time directly for money, where 1 hour worked equals 1 paycheck, you hit an inherent limitation. No matter how hard you work, you are strictly capped at 24 hours in a day. People who build real wealth figure out how to create scalable value. The market pays a premium for high-leverage skills or assets, rather than merely compensating for time spent on the clock. But even without a specialized trade, you possess an advantage: time. Wealth isn't built through luck. It is built over decades through consistency. Financial freedom starts when you stop playing against the system and start aligning with the math. By navigating inflation, avoiding compound debt, and letting your money grow over decades, you transform these invisible rules into a tailwind instead of a headwind.